Hi everybody, it's Carrie from the Westport Library with your Mind Body Minute. Today I'm taking the practice up off the floor and I'm going to show you a very simple movement sequence that can be done any time of the day without having to get up from your chair. Chair yoga or chair movement is a great practice for anyone who may have limited mobility, who might be managing injuries, or anyone who just needs a quick break from office work or online meetings. So to begin, I'm going to set up the body in a way that optimizes posture for the movement to follow. So a couple things to consider when you're sitting. Noticing if you start to round the spine forward too much, shoulders forward, chest in, which often happens if we're sitting at a computer or typing, right? We kind of come into this rounded shape. So lifting up as much as I can here, and ideally my hips are right on line with my knees and my ankles are directly underneath my knees. So the shape of the legs forms a right angle. So if your chair is squishy and you feel like your hips are sinking in and your hips are actually dipped slightly below the knees, it would be a good idea to elevate the hips just a little bit with a folded towel or a folded blanket. So again, you have the hips right on line with the knees or even slightly elevated above it. So I'm actually going to place a couple yoga blocks underneath my feet to create more of a right angle. So that's another option here. If your feet don't hit the floor or if you want a little boost, you can place blocks or a little step stool or something underneath your feet to create that shape. And already I feel a little pressure taken off my lower back. So from the seated position, I'm going to begin with a little awakening for the spine and just come into a little seated cat-cow. So my hands rest gently on my knees. As I inhale, shoulders stay heavy, chest starts to lift forward. I'm lifting my chin, but not so much that it compresses my neck, keeping my jawline soft. That's my inhale. And as I exhale, drawing my navel in, keeping the shoulders heavy, dropping the chin in towards the chest and pressing my back towards the back of the chair. Inhale again, waving forward, and then exhaling, releasing. Inhaling, coming forward, and exhale, releasing. Good. From here, inhale, coming back to a neutral spine, releasing the arms. On the next inhale, stretching the arms overhead to lengthen up through my rib cage. As I exhale, elbows come on line with the shoulders. And then just pausing here for a gentle heart opener. So elbows are right on line with the shoulders, wrists are on line with the elbows. And then you can release the wrists here a little bit, take a little release for the hands. Try not to push the ribs or the chest forward too much. So just kind of feeling that length again through the spine. Breathing here. And then take a little look towards one hand, back to center just to support range of motion in the neck, looking towards the other hand, back to center. Coming back into some flow. Inhale, palms face in, stretch the arms overhead. Think more about lengthening from your rib cage than the arms, so the shoulders stay heavy. Exhale, elbows on line with the shoulders. And I'm just taking 3 breaths through each of these movements, but you can take as many breaths in the sequence as feels good for you. Exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good. Inhaling one more time, and then as I exhale, releasing the arms heavy alongside again, and just rolling out the shoulders a little bit here, opening up in the upper back, in the chest a little bit. And then coming back to neutral, and now taking my feet just a little bit wider, coming into a little forward fold. So hands can come forward in between the legs, and I'm just gonna round my spine, letting the backs of my hands hit the floor, dropping the weight of my head in, giving the head a little rock from side to side, and taking a few breaths here. Pushing into the support that's underneath my feet as I roll up, lifting the head, taking one more deep breath in, reach the arms overhead as the knees come back to neutral, connecting the palms, and just returning everything back to center for a moment. Couple breaths here, and then releasing. Coming into a little twisting. So taking one forearm, placing it on my legs, right, just to support. And then with the other arm, I'm going to stretch it out to the side. So anytime you twist, whether it's in a chair or in any other formation in the body, you want to think about twisting from the chest, not from the low belly. So this arm, just like the ray of the sun, is just going to kind of ride the length of my chest and not lead the twist. So I'm going to take a big breath in, and as I exhale, start to take one side of the rib cage back as I stretch that arm overhead, opening up through my chest. You can even take the opposite hand and support it on the heart. And then just kind of find where my range of motion stops. I want to make sure I can breathe here. Take a deep breath in, exhale it out. And again, 3 or so breaths here. And on that 3rd or so exhale, releasing, switching over to the other side, taking the opposite forearm down, and once again, stretching the arm out. Now, it's important to not assume that you have the same range of motion from one side to the other. So just follow what it feels like on this side, allowing the arm to ride with a twist, not lead it, opening from the chest. And then once you find that range of motion here in your twist, pausing, taking a deep breath in, exhaling. And on the 3rd or so exhale, once again, releasing. Good, coming all the way back up. And again, you can give the shoulders a little roll out here. Moving on to the hips. So with one foot still supported, I'm going to take one ankle and cross it over the opposite knee. And again, I'm trying to maintain as much of a right angle shape here as possible, lightly flexing this top foot, which helps to protect the knee joint. And this might be enough, right? This might be enough of a stretch here through the outside of this hip. You can breathe here. Try not to push down on this knee, right? You don't want to overexert here, so just breathing into this stretch. If you'd like a little more, begin to fold forward here from the hips. And notice that as I fold forward, I'm still maintaining that length through the spine. I'm not collapsing, right? So thinking about maintaining an open heart as you hinge from the hips, not round from the spine. Once you feel the edge of your stretch here, coming back into your breath, maybe the head dips in a little bit. And then releasing that side, taking that foot down, once again, crossing to the other side. And again, you might have a very different sensation in this side. So just trying not to judge it, breathing into it, flexing this foot lightly, pausing here, or with nice length in the spine and an open heart, start to hinge forward, softening the weight of the head in, breathing here. And coming all the way back up and releasing. Turning my palms to face up and just crossing one hand over the other, connecting the tips of my thumbs, and coming into a few breaths here in a seated resting pose or a seated shavasana. So here, I want to really feel the support that's underneath my body and allow the weight of my body to just sink into it, right? So there's no resistance to gravity. So feeling the support that's under my feet, feeling the support that's under my hips, breathing from the low belly, few rounds of deep belly breaths, lengthening your exhalation. And then seeing if you can actually imagine not just the weight of your body sinking into the support that's underneath it, but the support of the floor and the support of the chair actually rising up to meet you. So breathing here for just a few breaths, and again, you can sit here as long as you'd like, and just allowing your body to absorb all of the benefits of the movement that preceded. So again, chair yoga or chair movement is a really accessible practice for anyone at any time of any day to help bring a little opening and balance back into the body. Thanks for watching. See you next time.